There's more to your favorite game than meets the eye. Every video game has a secret. There are mysteries, Easter eggs, and out-of-bound areas that you were and weren't supposed to find. From old games to new ones, join me as I uncover the weird, creepy, and even the amusing things people have found in games. This is Missing Number. Be sure to subscribe, like, and click the bell icon for more episodes. And if you know any video game Easter eggs, secrets, or mysteries, be sure to let me know in the comments below or through my social media accounts. All of the links are in the video description. It goes by many names. In China, it's known as Yeren. In Australia, they call it Yowie. In Siberia, Chichuna. South America, Marikoxy. Mongolia, Almas. Africa, Chimiset. Sumatra, Orang Pendek. And in North America, Bigfoot. This legendary, elusive creature is described as a giant ape-like beast. It has dark hair and can walk on two legs. It's purported to be 6 to 9 feet tall and is said to live in the forests of the Pacific Northwest of the United States. However, there have been numerous sightings of Bigfoots throughout the US, like the Ohio grassman and the Florida skunk ape. The grassman is said to live in the woods of Ohio, where it builds hut-like structures made out of grass, hence its name. And the skunk ape, which reportedly lives in the Everglades, got its name due to the putrid smell it gives off. Meanwhile, Bigfoot's name is derived from enormous footprints that have been discovered, which are thought to be from the giant creature itself. The footprints can be as large as 24 inches long and 8 inches wide. The mysterious legend of Bigfoot has existed as early as the 1800s. Natives told stories of wild men and giants living in forests, mountains, and other remote regions of the world. In the 1900s, mounting evidence of Bigfoot began to surface. Numerous eyewitnesses claimed to have seen the cryptid, and photographs of what appeared to be the creature were taken. Giant footprints and pieces of hair thought to belong to Bigfoot were even found. Not only that, but there's even video footage of the beast. There are numerous ones out there, but arguably the most notorious and controversial one is the Patterson-Gimlin film. On October 20th, 1967, a man named Roger Patterson and his friend Robert Gimlin traveled to Bluff Creek, California to search for Bigfoot. Patterson became interested in the creature after reading an article about it in a magazine called True years prior. At around 1:15 to 1:40 p.m., as Patterson and Gimlin trekked through the forest of California, they would actually find what they were looking for, one of the greatest mysteries of mankind, Bigfoot, in the flesh. Startled, they took out their camera and started filming the elusive beast. In the footage, a bipedal, primate-like creature can be seen walking along a bank. At one point, it turns to look at the cameraman and then continues walking away. The footage is 59.5 seconds long, and the film has been studied and scrutinized by many people, including the scientific community. But to this day, no one is able to definitively prove whether the Bigfoot in the film is real or fake. Some believe it's a hoax, that it's just someone in a gorilla costume. It's perhaps the most famous and contentious Bigfoot sightings ever, just like in Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Set in California, just like in the Patterson-Gimlin film, the game was released in 2004, and soon after its release, players started to claim that they actually saw Bigfoot in the forest. The game has a vast countryside that includes places like the forested region of Baco Beyond, a shady cabin located near a creek, and the mountainous area of Mount Chiliad. Could Bigfoot be hiding in these areas? With a game as big as GTA, and the incredible attention to detail that Rockstar Games is known to have, and the fact that previous GTA games contain a bunch of secrets and Easter eggs, it was certainly possible that Rockstar could have surreptitiously added Bigfoot in GTA San Andreas as a fun little Easter egg. But why did players suspect that Bigfoot, specifically, was in the game so soon after the title's release? No one really knows for sure. It's rumored that it was due to the mention of Bigfoot in the game's Thanks To section, which can be found in a physical brochure that was included in the game's box. While it's unknown what started the Bigfoot rumor, it wasn't until 8 months later, in 2005, that the Bigfoot craze really kicked into high gear. In mid-June, modders released a secret sex minigame dubbed Hot Coffee that was found in the game's files. It was never meant to be playable, but modders were able to uncover it and make it playable, to the eventual dismay and outrage of lawmakers, the US Federal Trade Commission, and the Entertainment Software Rating Board, which rates video games. The controversy surrounding the hot coffee mod eventually led to the compelling and mounting speculation that Bigfoot was indeed in San Andreas. The reasoning was that if a fully playable secret sex minigame was found buried in the game's files this entire time, then surely other things were hiding in the game as well, like, say, a Bigfoot. And so the hunt for the elusive creature began. Players told stories of seeing a tall, dark creature lurking in the forest. It was usually far away and would disappear before players could get a good, closer look. There were even rare reports of Bigfoot attacking players when they got too close. One man, named Rob Silver, was even interviewed by The New Yorker in 2013 to recount his tale of seeing Bigfoot in the game. He told the publication, which was covering the GTA Bigfoot myth, quote, "Out of the corner of the television screen, I saw a large, tall, dark figure. It happened twice, both times during the first year. To this day, I've not come across the creature again." Perhaps the large, tall, dark figure Rob saw was actually a bugged pedestrian. GTA games are known to be buggy, and things like the so-called GTA ghost cars have been known to spawn in places where they shouldn't. Or perhaps what Rob saw really was a Bigfoot, but in order to see it, you need to go out in the forest at a specific time or day, possibly under certain weather conditions. Eventually, pictures and videos surfaced online allegedly showing Bigfoot in the flesh. However, most images and clips were blurry or low quality, and they were pretty sketchy and questionable. Compounding the issue even more was that modders created Bigfoot mods that allowed players to import Bigfoot character models into the game. So pictures and videos claiming to show Bigfoot could have just been fan-made mods. It's a confusing mess, but in a 2005 interview, the co-founder and CEO of Rockstar Games, Terry Donovan, actually set the record straight. He said, "There is no Bigfoot, just like in real life." What's more, GTA San Andreas' lead level designer, Craig Filshie, told an American video game magazine that there was not a bit of truth to Bigfoot being in the game. He elaborated, saying, "If you look closely, you'll notice that all of the screenshots are typically retouched versions of the screenshots we created for magazines and websites before the game was released." So there you have it, straight from the horse's mouth. Bigfoot is not in the game. The end. Or not. According to GTA Myth's fandom websites, Rockstar's co-founder and former vice president of creativity, Dan Houser, said in an interview that Bigfoot was indeed in the unreleased beta version of San Andreas, and that there was a 1 out of 10 chance in finding it. "I did in fact put Bigfoot in the game, which was meant as a joke, but my boss told me to remove it. Instead, I didn't tell my boss and kept Bigfoot in the game just in case testers decided to roam the woods. Players will have a 1 out of 10 chance of finding Bigfoot." So looks like people's suspicions were partly correct, that Bigfoot was in a version of San Andreas at some point. However, there's just one problem. The source for this alleged interview is unknown, and therefore very dubious. Still, there is always that possibility that Rockstar did surreptitiously include the mythical creature in the game. One interesting theory was that Rockstar used a phantom code to hide Bigfoot. A phantom code, or phantom files, is when a game developer purposely mislabels or disguises certain game files to hide things like secrets or Easter eggs. This is to prevent hackers and modders from leaking in-game secrets to the public prematurely. So for instance, a phantom file could involve a character model being placed in the audio section. Some even claim that Rockstar in particular has the ability to make invisible files, which would be impossible to find. However, all of this is supposedly unlikely due to various technical reasons. For example, it's apparently impossible for a game to transform one file type into a different file type without a converter, and it would be unethical for a game to install a file into a separate directory than what the installer chose. Nevertheless, people scoured through GTA San Andreas' game files and code to see if there was any hint of Bigfoot. Unfortunately, no one was able to find anything. Despite this though, people are still convinced that Bigfoot is in the game. GTA San Andreas, like with all GTA games, is presumably made by hundreds or even thousands of people, so it's not inconceivable that a lone designer or artist possibly snuck in Bigfoot without others knowing about it. After all, some game developers working at different game studios have actually publicly stated that they've snuck in Easter eggs in games without the rest of the team knowing about it, so it's not unprecedented. And it's hard to ignore the fact that the region where Bigfoot has allegedly been seen in GTA San Andreas looks like a foot. A big foot. Additionally, when the New Yorker asked Rockstar for any comment on the Bigfoot rumor back in 2013, a Rockstar spokesperson said, "We'd prefer to keep an air of mystery surrounding the topic. Let the myth remain a myth." What's more, GTA San Andreas' level designer, Christian Cantamesa, teased, "It is a little like asking the US government to discuss Area 51, isn't it? The only appropriate comment is no comment." The Bigfoot myth remains the biggest myth in GTA San Andreas, and is widely believed to have kickstarted the discussion of myths in the GTA series. When the remastered version of San Andreas was released in 2014, the Bigfoot rumor was reignited. Perhaps Rockstar finally added the enigmatic creature in the game after all these years due to how popular the myth was. Unfortunately, while nothing was found yet again, some maintain their belief that the mythical beast is indeed in the game. Years later, the legend of Bigfoot would re-emerge in another GTA game, this time in Grand Theft Auto V. But unlike San Andreas, Bigfoot is actually in the game, technically. To encounter it, you have to 100% complete the game, and upon doing so, a new mysterious mission will be available for Franklin. Head to the forest, and you'll meet a strange, unhinged man with a gun.
You lucky boy. You're real lucky.
Why?
I thought you was a Squatch.
He seems paranoid and says he's hunting for Bigfoot. He's been hunting the elusive beast for the past 8 years and swears he's seen it hundreds of times. After talking to the man, if you venture off into the forest, you'll find curious clues like scat on the ground, and you'll hear strange grunts and growls in the distance. You soon find out that you're not alone. If you look quickly, you can spot an upright, ape-like creature running away in the distance at breakneck speed.
What the hell was that? I thought I had.
The creature is very fast and elusive, and should you chase after it, the hunt gets more treacherous as vicious animals like coyotes can attack you. Should you survive and chase the primate-like beast long enough, you'll eventually come face to face with the legendary creature, Bigfoot.
Shoot me, human. Make it stop. I'm the last of my kind. We've lived in these woods 1,000 years.
So finally, Rockstar officially added Bigfoot in GTA. This was surely a nod to GTA San Andreas' Bigfoot myth that took the world by storm. However, upon talking to Bigfoot more, you soon realize that Bigfoot is actually a guy wearing a costume.
Wait a second. It's just a f***ing mask. What the f*** is wrong with you running around the woods in a costume?
Hey, I'm no freak. It's perfectly normal to admit to being aroused role-playing dressed as a fantastical beast.
It's a strange yet amusing ending, but the Bigfoot saga doesn't end there. You can actually transform into Bigfoot by finding a special golden peyote plant at a specific time and day, under the right weather conditions, among other requirements. What's more, turning into Bigfoot actually tied into another super secret Easter egg, in which you could fight a wolfman as Bigfoot. The story of that, and how players actually discovered it, is complex and fascinating, and is a story for another time. The GTA series is brimming with myths, as is another Rockstar game, Red Dead Redemption. In the game's DLC, you'll encounter a frightened, old man that's shooting randomly into the forest. The old man claims that a Sasquatch was about to eat his dog, but then he shot the beast before it could. Skeptical about the existence of Bigfoot in the first place, your character, John Marston, heads off into the forest. Eventually, after searching around the snow-covered forested area, you do actually encounter not just one Sasquatch, but several of them. And this time, they aren't humans wearing a gorilla mask. When you encounter the beasts, they will run away, and after you hunt and kill the creatures one by one, you'll eventually come face to face with one last surviving Sasquatch. Like in GTA 5, it talks, and it actually says the same lines, but you soon realize that the frightening story of Bigfoot is not what it seems.
Shoot me, human! Shoot me!
Oh, I will, you foul creature of the night.
You'd be granting me peace.
Why's that? Keep you from eating more babies?
What in the name of all that's right are you talking about, human?
You eat babies. You have to survive. Everyone knows that. Ain't your fault.
We eat berries and mushrooms, you fool! Or we did. Now none of us are left. Some maniac's been murdering us. I'm the last of my kind. We've lived in these hills 1,000 years.
You eat babies.
If you say so, human. My family is gone. My kind is gone. Shoot me. I can't take it anymore. Make it stop.
In Red Dead Redemption 2, evidence of Sasquatch can also be found, though, curiously, you can't actually see one that's alive like in the first game. If you travel to a mountain north of Strawberry, you'll come across an abnormally large skeleton under a ridge. It notably has a giant head, and when you inspect the skeleton, your character writes in his journal, quote, "Found a massive skeleton, wonder how big the man was, or if he was a man at all." So it's pretty ambiguous. It's unknown if this is actually Sasquatch or a human that has gigantism, which is a rare condition that causes abnormal growth in people. Adding even more mystery is that if you travel to the Calumet Ravine after studying 30 different animal species, you'll encounter a flock of birds that will fly away. If you follow them, they will lead you to a cave where a mysterious man resides. You never see the man, but he'll talk to you about how he's lonely and has no friends since he's too big.
How are you? I'm rather lonely. You see, I'm too big. I haven't got any friends because I'm too big.
Is that so?
Yes. Yes, it is so. That's sort of why I said it. That and because I was lonely and wanted to talk. Maybe we could be friends. I've always wanted a real friend. Someone to discuss the human condition with, you know?
I don't know much about that.
Neither do I. Be well, friend. Be well.
So it definitely sounds like a man with gigantism. That, or it's Bigfoot. Given Rockstar's history with Bigfoot, it's not out of the question, and perhaps the man, or creature, is related to the human or beast of this skeleton. No one really knows, but if you return to the cave 3 days later, you can talk to the man again.
Nice to see you again.
And you?
How have you been?
Okay, I suppose.
That's good. I've been lonely. Very lonely. I'm faced with a stark and unpleasant choice. Be lonely or get murdered. Not very exciting as it goes.
Huh. I suppose pick lonely?
Did you miss me?
I suppose so.
Yes, I missed you too. I've been quite lonely out here. One day, I long to have a wife. But women can be so cruel. Nobody wants large children. They eat too much. It's very sad.
While investigating Bigfoot sightings in various other games, I ended up chatting with a YouTuber named QuitBike5020. I was asking permission to see if I could use one of his gameplay clips in this video, and by chance, he happened to mention that he actually saw Bigfoot once in Red Dead Redemption 2. Shocked, I told him that the only thing people have been able to find are the aforementioned giant bones and the man in the cave. However, QuitBike replied, "I've seen all that on YouTube, but that's not what I saw. I saw one next to the Indian burial grounds online, and there's a lot of screams. My friend and I have been chasing the screams to try and see it again while I'm recording. If anyone can corroborate this, or if you've seen or heard anything similar, let me know." In Assassin's Creed III, the famous explorer and frontiersman Daniel Boone tells a chilling tale of Sasquatch.
It stands upright as a man, but its whole body is covered in a thick pelt. Its gait is slow and lurching. I've seen it with my own 2 eyes. It's clever, always at a distance or with something between us, like it knows where I'm gonna be before I get there. Things go missing where it goes, that much is certain. All manner of trinket. It took a man's prize buck antlers clear off his cabin wall. It takes kills out of traps too, wrenching them open with his big mitts. Somebody should find it and bring back its head for the whole world to see.
If you head deep into the northwestern region of Black Creek, you'll find signs of the creature's presence, like an unusual footprint. There's also a waterfall and a cave. Head into the dark cave, and you will encounter an unexpected surprise.
Hello. You're the chap that was down the hill, yes? Welcome. Care for a leg of venison? Maybe a hen? I have some lovely wine if you like. A Bordeaux.
No, thank you. Who are you and what is this place?
I'm just a man and this is my home. Doesn't look like much from the outside, but that's sort of the point. Not much of a people person.
The locals think you are a demon of some sort.
Is that what they're saying now? Probably frustrated on account of my naughty little habit. I take things. I know it's wrong, I do, but I just can't help myself. Thing is, I like my privacy. If I gave you some coin, might you keep my home a secret? I'd be much obliged.
So similar to Red Dead Redemption 2, it appears to just be a man in a cave. Not all stories of Bigfoot are cases of mistaken identity. In Stage 5 of the Simpsons arcade game, you can find Bigfoot hiding in a cave. There are several Bigfoot in fact, and they are extremely hostile. Should you get too close to them, they will swing their arms wildly and attack you. In Warcraft III, Reign of Chaos, and the remastered version, Warcraft III Reforged, there is actually a secret society of mystical Sasquatch living in the forest, and should you discover them, they will be startled and decide if they should attack you. One Sasquatch will blurt out, "What the hell is that?" Then, an elder Sasquatch will say, I don't know, but it can't be good. We should destroy them before they tell others about our secret society of Sasquatch, which lives out here in these ancient woods. None may know the incredible secrets that our race has withheld from the rest of the world.
Speak, fool.
Unfortunately, we may never know their secret. Elsewhere, a tribe of Sasquatch can be found in Sam & Max Hit the Road. In the 1993 point-and-click adventure game, a frozen Sasquatch that was being showcased at a carnival somehow mysteriously disappeared. After searching the carnival for clues as to the whereabouts of the Sasquatch, you discover that the carnival's other attraction, a woman with a tall, giraffe-like neck named Trixie, freed the Sasquatch, which was named Bruno. Eventually, your search takes you across the United States, and you actually end up meeting the leader of the Sasquatch and the Sasquatch tribe. Like a good mystery, there are twists and turns, and the entire story of what happened is for another time. More adventures await in the search for Bigfoot. In the Sims 2 expansion pack, Voyage, Bigfoot can be found hiding in a secret lot called Hidden Burrow. But in order to even find and access the area, you need to find the map of it. You can do this by going on a hike, or more daringly, raiding a pirate ship. Or you can opt for the safe old-fashioned way, digging. If you're lucky enough to find the map, you can then access the Hidden Burrow, and there, you can find the one and only Bigfoot. What's more, you can interact with it like any other sim in the game, but with slight differences. He can offer Bigfoot hugs, is immune to cold weather, can scare burglars away, has 5+ relationship bonus with dogs and children, and doesn't require friends to gain job promotions. But on the flip side, he never takes a shower or a bath, even when his hygiene is low. He also keeps eating even when he's full, and if his motives are critically low, he'll get mad. He'll scream, pound his chest, break objects, and he'll even use to irritate, scare, or fight interactions on other Sims. Like other human Sims, something can happen to Bigfoot as well. It's a rare occurrence, but he can actually be abducted by aliens. Extraterrestrials and Bigfoot are some of the biggest mysteries of mankind, and one game in particular unexpectedly combines both of them in a bizarre way. America's Army is not a game you would expect to have any sort of mythical creature, let alone an Easter egg. After all, the game was created as a training simulator to recruit prospective soldiers for the US military.
And today you will learn to become one too by qualifying with the M16A2.
Launched in 2002, the game has reportedly received more than 20 to 40 versions and updates over the years. But believe it or not, in the very early version of the game, a secret Yeti could be found in an unusual place. If you go to the game's training mode and open up the game's console command, type in Open JRTC Farm. JRTC Farm is a nighttime airborne map, and in the sky, there is an airplane that you need to go to. However, your character may be unable to move after entering the aforementioned console command. If this happens, you need to open the console command again and type in MP Cheat Player Lock and MP Cheat Ghost to regain control. Once you do, go outside of the back of the plane and then look all the way up above the cockpit. There, you will see something bizarre. A Yeti inside a UFO spacecraft. Tiger Woods' PGA Tour 2004 is another old game where Bigfoot can be seen hiding. The game features nature-esque, forested golf courses, and so there's plenty of room for Bigfoot to hide. On the 17th green on the Sahali CC, right next to the golf hole, there are 2 yellowish bushes. If you zoom the camera all the way in on the left bush, you can see none other than Bigfoot peering out from behind a tree. He must be curious. For those that are extra curious and adventurous, you can venture off deep into the forests in The Crew. The 2014 open-world racing game contains some surprising mysteries, and one of them can be found near a region called the Southern Cascades, east of Seattle. If you explore the forest thoroughly enough, you'll come across a big open, grassy area, and it's here where you'll encounter a wild Bigfoot. The dark-haired creature stands 8 feet tall and will run away if you get too close. It will stay in the same area, so you can't chase it to other places, like the city. However, seemingly, the same Bigfoot can also be spotted in the sequel to the game, The Crew 2, and just like in the first game, it can be found in the same location. Bigfoot isn't the only mythical beast hiding in games, however. Its cousin, the Yeti, is also hiding somewhere. Eyewitness accounts and evidence of the Yeti go as far back as the 1800s. The Yeti reportedly lives in the snowy Himalayas. It is said to have dark or white/silvery hair and is around 6 to 9 feet tall. Several expeditions have been conducted on the Himalayan mountain, including the world's highest mountain, Mount Everest. Over the years, unusual footprints thought to be the Yetis have been spotted in the snow as high up as 14,000 to 20,000 feet above sea level. One of the most famous footprints is the one photographed at Menlong Glacier in Nepal in 1951. While on the famous British Mount Everest expedition, a mountaineer and expedition doctor named Michael Ward discovered a footprint which was a foot long and seemingly had 3 toes. Some explorers and mountaineers even claimed to have seen dark figures in the distance. Few even claimed to have been attacked by a Yeti. In a Nepalese valley, there is a monastery called Pang Bosh, which is famous for housing the scalp and skeletal hand of an alleged Yeti. And over the years, scientific tests and analysis done on various evidence of a supposed Yeti have determined that they were either an animal, a human, or unknown in origin.
Hostiles in the C3 center.
In the snowy, desolate region near the Swiss border, a wild Yeti can be seen roaming around in the farthest reaches of Delta Force Land Warrior. In one level of the game, your mission as a member of an elite task force is to eliminate all hostile militant forces that have taken over a communication center. Your mission objective is located southwest. However, there is something southeast, and the trek to getting there is long and out of the way. But should you brave the long solitary journey and the empty coldness, you will eventually find life in the form of a Yeti. It's by itself and wanders alone. If you approach it, nothing happens. It seems not hostile, but should you shoot it, it'll run away. The creature is fast, but if you can manage to shoot it, it'll die with one last dying scream. In Battlefield 4, a chilling scream from a Yeti can also be heard. On the Galmud Railway map, you need to stand underneath an overhang of a specific large rock. Then in the distance, you'll see a curious light glinting on a snowy mountain. Shoot the light with a rocket launcher, and a couple of seconds later, this will happen. The game's developer, DICE, seemingly has a history of including Yeti Easter eggs in their Battlefield games. In Battlefield 1, another eerie scream of what sounds like a Yeti can be heard. In the snowy mountainous map of Lupkow Pass, there are some ruins in the far corner of the map. Once you get there, listen closely, and you'll hear this. The map has traditional background ambient sounds, like Russian soldiers shouting, but the groans and screaming heard here don't sound human. Given that there was a Yeti Easter egg in Battlefield 4, it wouldn't be surprising if this was a Yeti. Furthermore, in Battlefield 3, strange footprints can be seen in the snow in the Sabalan Pipeline map. There appear to be 2 sets of tracks, with the left one being bigger than the right one. What's more, the width between the footprints on the left appear to be wider than the one on the right, indicating that there may be an older Yeti and a younger one. Should you be brave enough to enter the cold, forsaken forest in the aptly titled game Bigfoot by Cyberlight Game Studio, you will find yourself trying to survive for your life as you come face to face with the abominable snowman.
Oh, Drake, help!
What?
Drake!
What?
Why are you running away from me? You coward! He's right next to me!
Oh, good. At least he's not up here. I'm happy.
He is! I just heard him roar.
Oh, he's right. I didn't like that. Oh my god!
Sometimes, in order to go face to face with a Yeti, you have to lure it out. In Castlevania, Dawn of Sorrow, a Yeti can be seen in the background outside the Lost Village at the very first screen of the game. But in order to make it come to the foreground, you need something enticing, and what better way to coax a hungry Yeti out of the forest than food? In the game, there is an enemy called the Waiter Skeleton, which is literally a waiter that's a skeleton. It's carrying a plate of delicious curry, and so should you obtain the Waiter Skeleton soul and delicious curry, you can go outside to lure out the Yeti. When the Yeti is in view, throw the plate of delicious curry in front of it, and the hungry beast will immediately jump to it to chow down. Right after this happens, it will try to run away after seeing you or getting hit, so you need to kill it quickly. If you're successful, you can obtain the Yeti soul, which will let you roll a snowball into enemies. In the Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare series, the Yeti is a rare enemy that can be encountered in Garden Ops. In this mode, you have to face off against waves of enemies and try to survive long enough. However, should you be unlucky enough, there is a chance that at some point, you'll have to face off against the fierce, abominable snowman as a boss. Packing a large amount of health, the giant Yeti will come after you and claw at you. It can also throw deadly icicles and create ice storms, which will slow your movement. Furthermore, it has the ability to freeze players, and not only that, but you also have to deal with its minions, like the Yeti Imps and the gun-toting Arctic Troopers. Should you survive the onslaught, you can escape to the serene, snow-covered mountains in Wii Ski for the Nintendo Wii. There you get to chill out at a ski resort and enjoy some conversations with a variety of people. One person in particular that you can talk to is a wildlife expert who will tell you information about a variety of animals in the area, like foxes, deer, monkeys, and bears. But, surprisingly, there is one animal that he mentions that is of utmost interest: the Yeti. The mythical creature is said to be shy and doesn't want to be seen by humans, and legend has it that the Yeti can make it snow whenever it wants. The wildlife expert says that if the beast does exist, that the best place to find it is in a remote area that is unknown by most people. For those daring enough, head to the number 5 elephant stage, and right before going downhill, head left. Go past the buildings, and on the left, you will see a deciduous tree. Go towards it, and you'll see a path that you can slide down. You'll then immediately see a mysterious hole in the fence. Go through it, and make your way down the hazardous path. The journey down is dangerous, with twists and turns, narrow paths, and steep inclines. However, should you survive, you'll enter a cave. It's beautiful, yet mystical, and the solitude is almost palpable. At the fork in the road, stick to the right side and carefully ski past the ice formations. Then on the right side, you'll see a large area, and if you're patient and observant enough, you just may see something. A Yeti. It looks like this is its home, and it's cooking some kind of meat. It could be a deer that it killed, or a human. Who knows what it's done. After encountering the legendary beast, you can photograph it and save it for all to see. In Zoo Tycoon, you can even capture one and make a Yeti exhibit. It costs $10,000 to add one Yeti, and you need to create a suitable environment for the white furred creature to live in. It prefers rocky terrain with gray stones, cliffs, shelters, and of course, snow. Taking care of a Yeti isn't an easy task. It can be unpredictable, and you need to make sure it's happy and eats well.
Save my life. Okay, so he's just lounging around. He's hungry and can't find any food. Well, let me see. Eat. Don't die. Don't. I swear, if you die. Oh my god. There's food right there. There's food right there.
Failure to feed it enough and on time can result in consequences. One of the biggest Yeti mysteries and teases in a game is in Far Cry 5. Since 2018, players have been tirelessly searching for a Yeti in the game. Not only was the ferocious beast featured in Far Cry 4 Valley of the Yetis DLC, but Far Cry 5 isn't shy at all in teasing the existence of the Yeti. In the game, there is a side activity that you can do titled Gone Squatchin', and the mission description reads, quote, Dickie Dansky has locked up his cabin and gone looking for the elusive Sasquatch. So clearly, there must be a Sasquatch in the game, right? Well, if you head to the cabin, you'll find a note outside, written by Dansky, that reads, Sorry I locked you out, but I just couldn't wait. I heard some noises outside the cabin and just had to follow. If you need your gear, just head north along the trail. I'm up at the old lookout. I've got a feeling that our hunt is over soon, and we'll have proof of that Squatch once and for all. Get the drams ready. However, things don't seem right. If you wander around the cabin, you can hear an eerie scream of a man and a creature growling in the distance. There's also another note that's written by Dansky. It reads, quote, For me, my obsession with Bigfoot started when I was a teenager. I had a summer job as a counselor at a nearby camp. I was in charge of looking after a bunch of 12-year-old kids, taking them hiking, canoeing, and generally try to keep them alive. We also went out into the woods to do some backpacking and camping out in the wilderness. I'll never forget what I saw that night. We had set up camp deep in the woods and were just about finished our dinner when we heard something large move through the underbush. At first we worried it could be a bear, but what we saw that night wasn't like any bear I've ever seen. It's a chilling tale, and if you follow a path nearby, you will eventually see something unsettling, a trail of blood. And eventually, you'll come across a journal page that reads, I can't believe it, I heard it, a genuine Sasquatch call. I'm sure it's from a cave I've seen on the nearby cliffs. I've got a feeling that today is going to be the day that I come face to face with the Squatch itself. Soon after reading it, you can hear what sounds like a man struggling and then a terrifying roar in the distance. Surely, it's a Yeti. If you continue following the trail and climb up some cliffs, you'll see trash littered on the ground, and some bones. Are they human? Should you climb up even higher though, you'll see Dansky's body lying on the floor, his cabin keycard, a life vest, a dead wolf, and even more bones. Was this a Yeti's doing? Could this be where the Yeti lives? If you head back to Dansky's cabin and open it with the keycard, you'll find loot and a bevy of Sasquatch-related items. Most prominently is a map on the wall with Bigfoot articles attached. There's also a bunch of red markers scrawled on the map indicating possible locations of Bigfoot. And on the table is a cast of a giant footprint. With all these clues, Bigfoot or Yeti must surely be in the game. Players just need to be smart enough to find it. And so the Far Cry community took on the challenge to find the elusive beast. Probably the biggest clue is the map that's found in the cabin, and so players took that map and superimposed it over the Far Cry 5 map. After some analysis, a few players believed that Bigfoot, or Yeti, is located somewhere in the southwest area of Jacob's region. However, no one was able to find anything. Some players have tried camping out at places where Dansky said he heard Sasquatch. Others even visited places seen in Dansky's Bigfoot photographs, but nothing came up. Curiously though, there have been a few caves players have found where dead bodies were seen lying on the ground. It's creepy and unsettling, and exactly what happened is a mystery. Who or what did this? More clues of Bigfoot's existence comes in the form of Sasquatch alert posters that can be found in places like the Grill Streak in Jacob's region. and at the airfield, you can actually find a giant footprint in the dirt. Furthermore, making the existence of a Bigfoot or Yeti in the game that much more plausible is the fact that a Yeti model can be used in the game's map editor, which is accessed via an in-game Far Cry arcade machine. So, if a Yeti exists in the map editor, then surely a Yeti exists in the main game, because why would Ubisoft go through all the trouble of creating a fully animated Yeti model and not include it in the campaign? Well, unfortunately, this is where the trail gets cold. It turns out that the map editor actually includes assets from previous Far Cry games and DLC, such as Far Cry 4's Valley of the Yetis. So this Yeti is ostensibly from Far Cry 4 and not Far Cry 5. Perhaps the Yeti just isn't in the game, or maybe it'll be included in DLC. It's hard to imagine that the Yeti isn't or won't be in the game after all this teasing. Then again, it's been 2 years since the game came out. Maybe a Yeti is in the game, but players still have yet to find all the clues to find it. Maybe you need an animal perk to see it? In the game's sequel, Far Cry New Dawn, there are mysterious giant bones scattered around the world. Perhaps this is a Yeti. To this day, the mystery continues. One Yeti mystery that puzzled players for a long time was in Ghost Recon Wildlands. Somewhere in the snow-capped mountains of Bolivia, players were convinced that a Yeti was lurking around. What kickstarted the rumor was that Ubisoft released a cosmetic outfit called Yeti Hunter just months after the game's release. Curious, players then searched the mountains and found mauled bodies and strange messages, which were actually ciphers that contained coordinates. There were also these collectible totems scattered around the open world that would reappear at this strange shrine. But what really added fuel to the fire was that Ubisoft released a seemingly ordinary patch called Title Update 4. At first, it didn't seem like anything special, but then, players noticed this curious patch note. Something was seen roaming the mountains. And so with that, the search for the elusive Yeti was on. Players scoured the mountains, and just days later, various clues were found scattered around the world. The first clue was located at a cliffside at Inca Camina. Specifically, these were the coordinates you needed to go to. Once there, a dead rock climber could be found holding some kind of code. When decoded, it revealed another set of coordinates that you needed to go to. Upon arrival, there was a cave you needed to enter, which was dubbed the Yeti Cave. It's here where things get dark and gruesome, as dead bodies can be seen lying on the ground, and you can even see people hanging upside down. In one particular spot, there is a dead body with blood on the ground, and if you look on the wall, another cipher can be seen, but this time, it's written in blood. At the third location, you will see another grisly sight, as more dead bodies litter the ground. If you inspect one particular corpse, you'll see another cipher that's half buried in the snow. At this point, if you're wondering what the heck happened to all these people at all these locations, your guess is as good as mine. At the fourth location, a downed plane can be found, and if you listen closely, you can hear Morse code coming from it. The Morse code, when decoded, points you to yet another location, this time a campsite. It looks like any other campsite, and surprisingly, there aren't any dead bodies this time around. There is, however, a seemingly normal NPC walking around with a clipboard. If you bump into him, he'll drop the clipboard, and if you inspect it, you'll find the last clue. Fly over to the Inca Camina province at these coordinates, and near a river, you need to find a rock with a bloody handprint on it. Once you find it, interact with it, and the Yeti will emerge. However, in a surprising turn of events, the so-called Yeti is actually a human sniper called El Yeti. He's at the top of a mountain, but you need to take cover quickly, since the sniper can take you down in one shot. If your sharpshooting skills are up to par, you can kill this mysterious sniper and then grab the loot off of his body.
Yes, there we go, I killed him! Whoa! Dude, he's humongous in comparison to everybody else.
For all your hard work, you will receive the El Yeti face paint and ghillie suit. Mission accomplished. It took just days for the community to find El Yeti. However, there were some players that expressed disappointment and frustration that it wasn't an actual Yeti. 2 years later, Ubisoft would seemingly tease the existence of another Yeti in their sequel, Ghost Recon Breakpoint. If you head to the northeastern side of Good Hope Mountain, you'll find a cabin with loot inside. You'll also see things like 2 bear traps lying on a table and an animal trophy head mounted on a wall, indicating that whoever lives here is a huntsman. If you look on the shelf right next to the bed, there is a note that you can pick up, which reads, "I've been tracking the animal for days. Its lair is near the river, at the south of Impetuous Stream, north from here. Cross the bridge to the east, then follow the road. Take the first turn left and continue down the road. Take the next left turn and continue until you come to another bridge, then turn right. If you follow the directions, you'll find yourself at the northwestern side of Silent Mountain. You'll also see a small cave, and upon entering it, you'll lay eyes upon a strange and horrifying scene. A bloody dead body, bones, and giant claw marks litter the cave. And on the back of the corpse, there's a claw mark as well. Clearly some kind of creature attacked this man, but what? It could have been a bear, or, as some people believe, a Yeti. Unfortunately though, this is where the trail gets cold. No one has been able to find any other clues about a possible Yeti in the game, but given Ubisoft's history of including the mythical beast in their previous games, it will undoubtedly be found. Or maybe it's not in the game yet, and like in Ghost Recon Wildlands, Ubisoft will slowly introduce more clues over time. If this is the case, then let's just hope that this time it's an actual Yeti and not just a man in a suit. Fortunately, there are other games that include actual Yeti creatures. In Need for Speed 3 Hot Pursuit, play the summit track, and right after you pass a ski lodge on your left, slow down and look to your right. Above, near some rocks and trees, you can see the one and only Yeti moving its arms up and down. It could be gesturing to stay away. Yetis are reportedly territorial, and it's worth noting that this Yeti can only be found in the PC version of Need for Speed 3 Hot Pursuit, and not the PS1 version, which came out earlier. The Yeti can even be found in older games that predate the PS1. On October 1991, a game called SkiFree was released for Windows PC as part of the Microsoft Entertainment Pack 3. In the game, you ski down a mountain as you try to avoid various obstacles. It's simple and peaceful enough, but should you reach 2,000 meters down the mountain, something unexpected and terrifying happens. An abominable snow monster will come out of the forest and chase you down the mountain. It's incredibly fast, and once the inevitable happens and the monster catches you, it'll eat you and devour your entire body. It's shocking and gruesome, but it's not the only instance of a Yeti eating someone alive. In Crash Team Racing, the game's protagonist has several run-ins with Yetis, and what you're about to see is disturbing. Not all family-friendly games are harmless. In Banjo-Tooie for the N64, a Yeti with an unusually large toe can be seen guarding a pair of prized shoes. These shoes enable your character to walk on walls, but unfortunately, the aptly named Bigfoot won't let you have them. He threatens to kick you if you try to steal them, and judging by his enormous toe, it's prudent to keep a safe distance. There's no getting past this giant, menacing beast. However, should you wait around long enough, something will happen. A giant chunk of ice from an ice dragon that's high up on a mountain will come crashing down. In 1992, a game called Monster in My Pocket was released for the NES. In the platformer, developed by Konami, you battle miniature monsters from zombies to skeletons to ghouls and goblins. But there's one enemy that you end up battling at the end of stage 2, and it's chilling. Should you make the harrowing journey past the kitchen table, the giant-sized food, and the flaming hot stove, you'll eventually find yourself in the freezer, where you'll go face to face with a Yeti. In the game, it's known specifically as Bigfoot. However, it resembles a Yeti more. Despite its bulky appearance, the hostile creature is fast and will charge at you. What's more, it will shoot some kind of sparkling ice attack at you. Failure to dodge its attacks in time can result in death. Fighting just one Yeti or Sasquatch is challenging enough, but what about 2, 4, or even 6 at the same time? In Metal Slug 3, there is a horde of Yeti secretly living in the mountaintop of Mission 2. At some point during the level, as you battle against deadly zombies and rescue hostages, you will go down an incline. At the bottom, you will see an arrow pointing right, which is the direction to normally go. However, if you look closely to the left, you'll see the word Iceman mysteriously carved into the mountain. It doesn't look like you can go anywhere else but right. However, if you shoot the wall beneath the Iceman text, you will find a secret entrance to a cave. Upon entering it, you will stumble upon friendlies frozen in ice, and soon after, you realize why. Ferocious Yetis will come out and try to freeze you with their icy breath. The battle can be overwhelming, and as such, some may not make it out alive. This is especially true if you're hunting wild game. In Cabela's Dangerous Hunt 2, danger is around every corner as you hunt and kill wild animals like wolves, boars, and bears. But it's not all fun and games. As you play, you learn that something happened to one of your friends, and near the end of the game, you find out that your friend was killed by an animal. But not just any animal. It turns out it was a Yeti, and you end up going face to face with it. This extremely hostile beast will attack you by clawing at you and throwing large rocks. But if you manage to survive and kill the monster, you will finally be able to avenge your friend's death. Not all Yeti or Sasquatch are hostile. Some are friendly, like in Darkstalkers. Introduced in Darkstalkers, the Night Warriors, one of the playable characters in Capcom's 1994 fighting game is Sasquatch. The hominid and his tribe live in the Rocky Mountains of Canada. They are said to be friendly and strong-willed creatures who love eating bananas. However, should you disrespect them, they can become hostile and attack. With their supernatural ability to turn water into ice, they're able to utilize various ice-based moves while in combat. They can shoot ice beams, freeze you with their icy breath, and create a shield of icicles around them. In Ark Survival Evolved, there is an ice cave you can explore, and it's filled with danger. The cave is teeming with deadly bats and wolves, but there is one other creature lurking deep inside as well, a Yeti. Interestingly, you can actually tame the wild beast.
Okay, we're on the Yeti now. Now let's go ahead and teleport out of here.
However, you apparently can only do it if you have admin controls. Should you tame one though, you can hop on it and take control of it. It's able to deal a large amount of damage as it can be used in combat. The Yeti Thrall in Tomb Raider Underworld is another giant, hulking Yeti that is also deadly. These ghastly monstrosities are thralls, which are creatures born from the Aeter. In Norse mythology, Aeter is a poisonous liquid substance that is the origin of all living things. Resembling the cave troll from Lord of the Rings, the Yeti Thrall will thrash around and takes many bullets to take down. However, in order to actually kill the beast permanently, you need to destroy its bones. And in Tomb Raider 2, Golden Mask, which is an enhanced version of Tomb Raider 2, the Yeti's cousin, Sasquatch, also makes an appearance. Like the Yeti, they are also very hostile and fast. They will charge at you and thrash about. Hopefully, you get the jump on them before they get the jump on you. Not only that, but there's even more unpleasant surprises waiting for you. In Shin Megami Tensei, You can also encounter Bigfoot, but it's extremely rare. And in the Oregon Trail style game, Super Amazing Wagon Adventure, there's a chance you may run into the wild cryptid on your travels. Bigfoot will chase you around and shoot ice shards at you. However, no matter what happens, the outcome will always be the same. You will end up falling off of a cliff. Some Indian nations actually believed that Bigfoot was a harbinger of doom. It's not surprising, given the chilling tales of Bigfoot. In Scribblenauts Unlimited, Bigfoot has been known to have severe mood swings. 1 second, it can be friendly and blushing, but the next second, it will rage and kill anything in its path. Even small puppies aren't safe. Naturally, some people want the beast dead. In Ragnarok Online, there is a quest that tasks you with killing Bigfoot. They resemble bears, and there are several of them roaming the forests. Should you kill them, they'll drop loot that you can pick up, like animal skins. But not all Bigfoot deserve death. Sometimes, you need to save them. In the 2003 racing game, Freaky Flyers, there is a family of Bigfoot living in the aptly named course, Bigfoot Mountain. But there's one member of the family that's missing, that you have the option of finding. Near the start of the race, there is a forest, and on the right side, there is an ice cave. It's easy to miss, but if you enter it, you'll find the missing Bigfoot.
Return Bigfoot to his family!
Fly near the lone creature, and you'll capture it in a net to bring it back to its family. The journey, though, is treacherous, as you have to fly through an ice cave with falling icicles and fly past hostile birds. But once you make it past them and go down a waterfall, you'll see a trio of Bigfoot standing around a campfire nearby. Fly to them, and you'll finally reunite the Bigfoot family.
You've reunited the Bigfoot family!
And right after you do this, you'll unlock floating boost pads as a reward. Last but not least, in Hawken, on the last Echo Winter map, you can see a mysterious, bipedal humanoid walking along the snowy landscape. It's undoubtedly a Yeti, and lending credence to it is a Christmas-themed event where a Yeti named Marvin would randomly appear on the battlefield. It carried Christmas presents, and if you managed to kill poor Marvin in time, you would receive a special repair drone. Not only that, but Yeti's relative, Bigfoot, is also hiding in the game as well, but getting to him is tricky and challenging. In fact, it may not even be possible to get an up-close view of him anymore, since the only way to get a real good look is to glitch your way out of the map. However, the game's developer, Adhesive Games, ended up patching the various out-of-bound glitches. Fortunately though, a few players like Spotix managed to get up close and personal to Bigfoot before the glitches were fixed. While you can see Bigfoot from far away without any glitches, the real treat is seeing him up close. On a map called Wreckage, you have to jump on top of a specific structure, then you have to jump and glide your way to the roof of another structure, and if you're successful, you can clip through the objects and be able to freely explore outside the map. Once this is done, you now have to overcome another challenge, finding Bigfoot. The swampland is huge, and with so many trees, plants, and murky water, finding Bigfoot is not an easy task. However, if you explore deeply and thoroughly enough, you will be able to find the mythical, elusive, legendary beast swimming in the swamp. There have been rare eyewitness accounts of seeing Bigfoot swimming in lakes and rivers, but who knew that Bigfoot has such an impressive backstroke? So what is Bigfoot? Some believe Bigfoot could be the missing link between humans and apes. Or perhaps, Bigfoot is a Neanderthal or Gigantopithecus. Neanderthals are archaic humans that went extinct 400,000 to 40,000 years ago, while Gigantopithecus, which were giant apes as big as 10 feet tall, died 100,000 years ago. While the scientific community affirms that these beings are extinct, some believe that they could still be alive and that they've been hiding this whole time. Of course, it's also entirely possible that eyewitnesses that claim to have seen Bigfoot are actually seeing a normal animal like a bear. Bears are able to walk on their hind legs, which would explain why people claim to see an upright, bipedal creature walking in the forest. Several people, including Bigfoot hunters, enthusiasts, skeptics, and organizations, have gone out into the forest to try to find the legendary beast. But no one has been successful. There have been curious, yet dubious cases of people supposedly capturing a Bigfoot or Bigfoot-like creature. One notorious instance is the Minnesota Iceman, an alleged ape-like humanoid creature that had been frozen in a block of ice and was showcased as a sideshow exhibit in the 1960s and 70s. The existence of Bigfoot is uncertain and questionable, but some renowned individuals in the scientific community have gone on record to state that they believe that Bigfoot exists. Famous primatologist Jane Goodall, who is recognized for her groundbreaking discoveries that chimpanzees make tools, eat meat, and have similar social behaviors to humans, said in an NPR 2002 interview, quote, "I've talked to so many Native Americans who all describe the same sounds, two who have seen them, and while on a visit to Ecuador, she had asked some local hunters if they've ever seen Bigfoot. She told KUOW Radio in an interview, quote, all I said was, ask if he's seen a monkey without a tail. I didn't say anything more than that. 4 of those hunters said, oh yes, we've seen a monkey without a tail. It's about 6 foot tall, and it walks upright." Another prominent figure, Dr. Jeffrey Meldrum, who is a professor of anatomy and anthropology at Idaho State University, says that he believes that Bigfoot is also real based on the evidence. Over the years, he's collected and studied hundreds of alleged Bigfoot footprints and even found one himself. He made an appearance in one episode on Survivorman Bigfoot, which was a TV show where renowned survivalist Les Stroud searched for the famous mythical creature. Years prior, however, Stroud had 2 personal experiences with what he thought was Bigfoot and told these chilling stories on the Joe Rogan Experience podcast. While we may never know if Bigfoot is real, one thing is for certain: the legend of Bigfoot lives on. What other secrets lie out there? If you know any more gaming mysteries or Easter eggs, let me know in the comments below. You can also contact me through any of my social media accounts, or you can email me at missingnumbermystery@gmail.com. Additionally, you can check out my other YouTube channel called The PK Paul Show, and if you like to hang out with me and watch some fun gaming streams, you can catch me on Twitch at PK Paul. All of the links are in the video description, and don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel for more episodes of Missing Number.